go. Okay, A minor scale. Here's your low A. If anybody's looking for theirs. Okay, so A minor. Here we go. Ready and. All right, we'll do the same to the arpeggio. Ready and. Okay, how was everybody's tuning? Were you able to? Did you have to pull some notes in and get them a little bit more focused? Okay, so now let's up the tempo a tiny bit and see how you do with your first attempt at all the notes. Now you can go ahead and tune them if you can, if it's a small adjustment, but otherwise just pay attention and we'll find out about batting averages right after we're done. So here's your low A. Okay, here we go. A little bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, and. Okay, I gave myself 98 because I got two notes that I was a little flat on the first approach. F natural and B on the A string. So there you go. Now let's try the arpeggio. Ready, 2, 3, go. That looked really good. Let's do it again right away, just like that, except better. Ready, 2, 3, go. All right, now, how do people feel about their batting average that time around with the scale and arpeggio? Who feels like they got most of the notes on the first try? Who feels hopeless? Who feels like they got a little work to do, but not a huge problem? Anybody?
It improved gradually, but I think some of the notes were still flat. The C, I think, the low C.
C is hard. Now, do you find that's a tendency for you? Are you noticing that's a tendency when the speed goes up?
It depends really on the scale. Like sometimes I'm sharp. I don't know whether it depends on the scale or the day or whatever, but sometimes I'm consistently sharp and other times I'm mainly flat.
You know what? You make a really good point. It does depend on the key, I find, for a lot of people. So, for instance, the sharper keys with more sharps tend to be sharp because of the reaching that's involved, like A or E. Whereas most people I've found, they tend to play minor scales a little flat. It's got a lowered sound, and so it tends to be kind of lower everything. You know what I mean? So, and C is a hard one. C on the A string, C on the G string, very difficult. Even when they are in tune, it's not a strong sound. So the best thing to do is drop downs. If you notice the notes. Now, one thing you can do though is pay attention this week. Play in a few different keys and see which ones you're always sharp and which ones you're always flat, and you might see a pattern that you can deal with. All right? Good point though. Who else? Let's see. How about Melanie? How did you do there, Melanie?
I'm flat.
Flatsville, USA.
Yep.
Okay, so you're gonna just, if you find you're flat on kind of everything, like is that just generally flat, so increase your finger pressure by like 20% across the board. See what that does. Okay, careful of the one. Sometimes the one doesn't need it, you know, but you can look, you can see for yourself. But that's always my prescription to chronic flatness. How about what about Calida? What do you think, Calida?
It was going good. I have like a few notes, I guess, that are flat. But I work really well with my ear, and I guess I'm not like too familiar with this scale yet, so
Ah,
I
yes.
just need to like train my ear. Yeah.
Perfect. See, you got the idea perfect. And this scale, like the minor scale, needs a little extra listening. So it's great. Just keep doing that. Did I record A minor on the YouTube channel? No? Let me make a note of that, because that would be a very, very good thing to do. So A minor on the YouTube channel.
Are there arpeggios on that tunable?
What do you mean by that?
Can you get an arpeggio going on the tunable you can follow along with?
Well, not like one note after another, no.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can play them all at once. That really helps some people, you know. But I'll just record it, and I'll put the tunable on so you can trust me. Don't worry. I'll make sure they're bang on the money, and I'll do it a couple of speeds. You know what I mean? Okay. And I might do the arpeggio twice. Arpeggios, I always make people do twice because they're the building blocks of tunes, and they're the biggest challenge because, you know, the spaces between the notes are bigger. So, that being said, why don't we play the whole thing one more time? A minor scale and then arpeggio for that extra work on the unfamiliar key. There's your A and your E. Okay, here we go. Ready, 2, 3, and... Here we go. Okay, we'll take another look at it again there next time. And if you need a more accessible way to play all the notes involved in A minor, you can always do C major. It's a stretch at the top end, but it makes a little more sense to the ear, especially in the lower part of the scale. So I'll put that on the YouTube channel too. C major. Okay.
Can you play one now, Dan?
C major scale? Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Here's your C, anybody that wants to do it. It's a challenge for sure, but I'm sure everybody can find enough pinky to get that high C. Okay, here we go. Nice and slow. Ready? And... Here comes the arpeggio. And if I do say so myself, I got that high C perfectly, which I have been working on because I noticed, now that I'm not playing gigs with other people around me and stuff, I'm hearing my own fiddle a lot more and a lot more often. And I noticed that I have a few tendencies too. So up in the top range, I tend a little bit towards the sharp for some reason. My ear thinks things should be sharp. So the high C, for instance, was like that. And I just noticed there, I hit it. I thought, that's flat. But then I thought, no, maybe not. And I looked at the tuner, and it was bang on the money. See that? That's what you have to do to teach your ear sometimes. Depends on the note, and it depends on the ear. Anyway, mug of brown ale. Shall we give it a go? Did we learn the whole thing? We did. Great. Okay, so I'm going to get her up here. Where did it go? This is preview. That's what it is. Okay. Okay. So we'll go real slow to start off with because it's been a week. And we'll do it twice at the slow pace, and then I'll see if there's any problems, and then we'll try to pick it up a little bit. We're putting it with the Cliffs of Moher, I think, right? It's coming after the Cliffs of Moher. Okay, nice and easy. Ready, 2, 3. guys? How are we feeling about the mug of brown ale? All the fingers look to be moving real good there, no problems. Anybody having any problems or bits that are bothering them? Yes, Susan.
For some reason, whenever I'm reaching out with the fourth finger, it's just snapping like crazy, and I don't know if it's because we're doing it so many times in your third four.
Snapping in what way? What is snapping?
When I reach the joint snaps back and forth.
The what?
I've got a snapping finger.
Okay. I mean,
I don't
I
know
actually...
if has that problem, but with the fourth finger, when I reach on this particular tune, there's something about the finger position that's I need to work on.
Okay, so whenever people describe difficulty reaching for the fourth finger note, or even the high C like we were doing before, it depends on the hand. I have small hands, so I identify with your problem, and I always just lean against the second finger. See that? So this is a better shot here. This is better. Look, check this out. I roll forward on my second finger, then I got lots of reaching power without having to stretch. You know what I mean?
You don't have to straighten the finger to get there.
Well, I still do. I'm got really small hands, so I'm flat fingered there. You see that?
Right.
But I'm not stretching it. Like, I'm not trying to make it longer.
If I reach to make it flat, it locks for a second. That's what it's got that locking thing.
So what you want to do then is to roll forward as much as you can, so you can maybe even get it without straightening.
Flattening. Okay.
But now the only thing is about that is that when you're done, you got to roll back in place, or else you're going to be sharp. I find it an easy move. I'm so used to it. It happens. I don't sharpen because, and remember, it's not a sliding. It's just a rolling. See that? And then roll back to home. Okay? And it's the second finger I use to pivot. Second finger. Middle finger. Yeah. There you go. There you go. See that? That's what I do. And most people I know have to do that a little bit. Okay? But you were going to say about the snapping. I was teaching a guy this morning. It's really interesting because his father is a tuba player for the PEI Symphony or whatever. His name is Greg Irvine. Jen knows him. She came to her university to teach them when she was doing her undergrad. And his son, Adrian, is a violinist, a professional violinist, and is desperate to learn Scottish and Irish music. And so I've been teaching him. And I was telling him about, because he does grace notes, because he's a classical violinist. It's normal. Grace notes are a normal part of what you do. But I was showing him the difference, and I was showing him how my finger... I have like locking fingers too. They used to call it double jointed, right? I could do this. My fingers go way back like that. And so when I do my grace note, my finger locks like that. And then the end of it is floppy. See that? Like a piano hammer. And so I was telling him that when I do my grace note, I do this. And then that piano hammer comes down and does just the right amount of flop against the string. See that? So I actually use that to my advantage, that little thing. But I remember my brother Patty was double jointed, and when he played the piano, this finger would get locked like that, and it would kind of stop him. So it can be a pain. Okay, anybody else? How are we getting along with the mug of brown ale besides that high B problem? Anybody else having any problems? No? All right, well, you know what we got to do then. Faster. So that was dee da da dee da. So let's go dee da da dee da da dee da dee da. A little touch faster, a little heat on it. 1, 2, 3, and. How'd we do that time, ladies? Doing pretty good? Good. That's great. That's great, because that was a good clip. All right, cool. So now let's leave that one for now. We'll move on to the Cliffs of Moher, and we'll practice that up, and then we'll try shoving them together. All right, so Cliffs of Moher. I'm just going to get it up on my desktop. The Cliffs. Where's the Cliffs? There we go. Perfect. Okay. Get rid of this one for now. Okay, so we'll go, I would say, a little bit back of that speed, just a tiny bit, because I know we practiced this one a bit more, so we don't need to go so slow. So maybe just a relaxed side of... You think that'll work out, that speed there? Okay, let's give it a couple of goes at that speed, all right? And then we'll try sticking it together with the other one. And maybe, I don't know, you never know, you might want to change key or something afterwards, you know? Did I talk about Seamus Connolly's? Did I talk about that tune, that jig? I did? I thought I remember talking. It's a great tune. Anyway, maybe we'll do that, do something like that at some point. Okay, Cliffs of Moher, medium, not too fast. 1, 2, 3, go, 2, 3. How did we do? Everybody looked cheerfully moving along there, so I thought it was going pretty good. Anybody having any problems? Anyone? I'm
Yeah,
an
and I
open
have a
book.
question. What are you doing the last part, the second part of part B, where
Okay.
you're doing the D and the two E's? You're droning something or you're double stopping something?
Second
Sounds
part of our
great.
piece. It's just this lazy bow thing where even though you're supposed to go over to the A, so I just don't bother going off of the E. See that? Want to try it?
keep track whether I'm muted
I
or
know.
not. Okay.
No, so the notes the E string, yeah, just the ones on the A string. I'll do it again.
What are you droning it with? The E string?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
That's the way to do it. And that's very common. Like, I'm always doing that type of thing. Anytime there's a passage like that, the lazy bow thing, I do that all the time. Okay? Good question, though. And you did get it. Anybody else having any questions or things they want me to show them or help them with, or just curiosity or anything at all? Okay, we're going to speed it up then, shall we? This is so much fun. It's better than being at Shouldice where you just talk to other dudes about their groins. Okay, ready? Here we go. Ready, 2, 3, go, 2, 3. Okay, anyway, you getting the idea how we go into that? Cool? A couple of people did it. That's great. Love that. It was a surprise, but I thought that was quite good. Okay, so shall we do them both? And do you think we could handle even a touch faster than that? Because that looked like it was going along really good. Anybody having a problem at that speed? Okay, so we're going to push it just a tiny bit, okay? On the front foot, as they say. And then we'll go into the mug of brown ale. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Set of jigs. 1, 2, 3, and... we go. Okay, it was a challenge. How did everybody do? How about you, Susan Blazer? How did you do?
Once we got faster, I got a little bit muddled.
Muddled? Okay. So, and just for a reference, everybody, that was jumpity day, deepity deedle dee deedle dee day, deepity deedle dee deedle dee day, deepity deedle dee day. About 90. That was a good clip. Really good clip. So muddled. Well, you can take her a couple of notches back, and it'll kind of help with that, and then we can. That's a hopeful goal there. 90, 95. That's great. If that was possible, that'd be great. Okay. So muddled is not the worst of it. How about the other Susan? How'd you do?
Yeah, I'd say exactly the same thing. A little muddled. So the practice speed was good, and that was too fast. So somewhere in between, I could probably manage. So.
Perfect. So that would be your practicing speed all week. So if that was 90, I think the other speed was about 80. Let me just check that out for you. Play. Oh, no, that's not 80. That's 104. So da 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 dee dee da da dee da 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 da. That would be a really good practicing tempo for you guys that felt that was a bit fast for this week. Don't bother trying to go faster. We'll try that again next week. If you do all that work on the 80, I bet you any money you'll have a better time of it next week, especially if you practice actually doing the two tunes together. Okay? How about Melanie? How did you find that speed?
Way too fast.
Muddled?
Muddled, yeah.
Okay, all right. So the same for you. 80 is going to be your practicing tempo. How about you, Bev?
No, I think I was okay. I'm trying to do it without the music though.
Ah.
And, sometimes it gets a little bit.
Did you make up anything good? Did you
Yeah,
make up anything good?
Did I? Well, I made stuff up. I don't think it was that good.
Yeah, that's sometimes what happens when you're trying to go off book there. But I always welcome it because sometimes you do hear a few things that you later on you're like, oh, I kind of like that, and you do it once in a while. You know what I mean? So again, maybe for you, the 80 would be good because it'd give you time to really remember without using the music. It'd be really good. How about you, Calida? How'd you do with that tempo? Your bow was moving along real good.
The Cliffs of Moher was good. And
Yeah.
I have that in my brain fully, so that was good. And then Logan Brownell was a little fast, but I liked it. So.
Okay, good. All right. So I think 80 would probably be good for you too for the whole set. All right. And Diana, did that? You could just give me a thumbs up if you want. If that was kind of, was it a little fast? Oh, too fast. Okay. Clear message. So yeah. So 80 is going to be the practice tempo for all you guys, and you have the different challenges according to what you're working on to use the 80 for. All right. And then next week we'll bump it up a bit. See if it's any easier. I bet you any money it will be. Resist the urge to try to go faster. Okay? Just remember Louis Armstrong saying, if you can't play it fast, it's because you haven't played it enough times slowly. I know, it's very boring, but that is the way it is. So that's those jigs. Cliffs and Moher and the Mug of Brown Ale. Maybe next time we'll learn. First of all, do you guys all know Knopman's Rambles? Oh, we should get that tune. That's Seamus Connolly's is a great tune, but not everybody plays it. Everybody plays Knopman's Rambles. I'm going to play it for you now so that you hear what it sounds like, and we'll have a crack at it next week. I don't want to get into it this week because I'm trying to just play and not talk too much. But it is one of the most popular jigs. Here's how it goes. Oh, yeah.
Will you send us the music then in the end?
Oh, I'll send you the music and I'll make the videos for YouTube as well. Okay? So I can see the nodding heads. People recognize that tune. It's like I probably played it 1,000 times on the internet, and also everybody plays it. So it's called Knopman's Rambles, Connaught. It's a county in Ireland, and apparently it's actually pronounced Connachtman's Rambles. My buddy Brian always corrects me, but my response to him is, no, it's Knopman's Rambles. It's okay. You'll learn the language at some point. It's only been here 22 years. Anyway, okay. So that's what we'll do next time. We'll start learning Knopman's Rambles. Great tune. We'll put it in. So if you imagine there... Isn't that a great change there? Okay. So we'll stick that onto the end. And we'll work on the speed of the whole thing as well. Now let's work backwards. Can anybody remind me what we did before these jigs?
Drunken Landlady.
Oh, good. And what was the other tune we did with it? The Calavel Reel, was it?
Wise Maid.
Wise Maid. That's great. Great set of tunes. So why don't we do that? Both of those tunes are a handful. So we'll start with the Wise Maid. We'll work backwards again. And we'll do that nice and easy. Okay, let me call it up so that I don't confuse anybody. Okay, Wise Maid. With the longbow written in. Oh, nice. Look at that. Okay. So we're going to go nice and easy with the Wise Maid there, guys. We'll play it nice and easy there. Do it a good couple of times. Yeah, we better go slow because there's a lot of notes in this tune and it's been a while. You want me to play it first off just so you can kind of hear it and change gears in your head? Remember that? Remember all those arpeggios? So let's go nice and slow. Somewhere around there. Okay? 1, 2, 3. gotta say, everybody was moving along really good looking. How's everybody feeling about the Wise Mate? Anybody having problems? No? That's great. Now, I'm not sure if you were trying the longbow or not. You know, I wasn't really doing the whole thing longbow. I was doing kind of my usual bowing. I realized that while I was doing it and looking at the longbowing, I realized that the second part, I do quite a lot of longbow in the second part. First part, not quite so much, but still some of them I was hooking into there. So anybody that's trying to do that, I hope you're getting along good with that. And if you have any questions, please pipe up because I can help. But shall we try a little tiny bit faster? Just the tiniest bit faster. Okay, what tempo is that? So, dum dum dee day da 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 dee day day dee day. So 80 again. It's that magic number, eh? Around 80. So let's bump her up a little bit, maybe 85. Yeah, just a little bit faster. So. Somewhere around there, okay? So let's give it a go. Twice. We'll see if anything goes wrong. 1, 2, 3. Hey, that looked like it went well. That's good. How's everybody feeling about that? Excellent. Okay, so now let's go to the drunken landlady. Oh, oops. Okay, drunken land lady. Here we go. Nope. Drunken organist. What? Never heard of that. It seems to be some kind of a plug-in for my recording software on my computer. Drunken organist. Sounds kind of cool. Where is that at? Why am I not finding that? Documents, maybe. That's weird. Drunken land lady. Well, I'm just going to wing it, because I do know it. I just don't want to confuse anybody. Maybe I'll look on my email, actually. Drunken. There we go. Got her. Okay. Okay. So we'll go nice and slow to start off with, because the further we go back in history, the slower we have to start. So nice and slow to start off with. Okay, remember that one? Here, I better go through it quick just to get it in your, ringing around your ears. Okay, coming back. Let's go slow. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and... Geez, guys, that looked like it was great. Everybody had the same down bow at the end and everything. How's it feeling? Everybody's coming back to your head, no problem, to your hand? Oh, that's great. See, that's awesome. Slow practice, eh? Slow practice is what really does the job. So, shall we put them together? Okay? Twice each, same speed. I don't think we should go any faster than that for now. Yeah, okay. And I got the music just so I don't confuse anybody. I'll play it exactly as written. We'll do both tunes, twice each, starting with the drunken. See, look at that. It goes from the drunken landlady, who is not a wise maid, to a maid who I figure must be mostly sober. Okay. There we go. Here we go, guys. Same speed. Maybe just a touch faster, but you won't notice. 1, 2, 3. Bower was hanging in good for that whole time. Yes, take a breather for God's sakes. That's a lot of play in there tonight. So how are we feeling? Who is having problems? Who feels like, woo-hoo, I did it? What's going on here with everybody? Yes.
Oh. Which Susan?
You.
Yeah, we'll go with you first.
I felt pretty good with that. Like it's not clean, but I could keep up, and with practice, I could clean it up a bit more.
Okay, good. Now, when you say not clean, is this just kind of like a few misfingerings along the way?
I think it's the time at night too, so I kind of get a little bit off too.
Is that right? I'm trying not to change my personal kind of body schedule, because Jennifer was talking about the same thing. We're used to a different schedule. Our 8 o'clock in the morning is 8 o'clock at night, because those are the 2 hours that we have to be at our best, is between 8 and 10, or 7:30 and 10 type of thing. And with the new life the way it is, it's kind of, especially Jennifer was saying, it's easy for that schedule to change. You know what I mean? But it's interesting. But anyway, okay, so that's good to know. That's good to know. A little bit more practice, maybe a bit slower, will help with that, of course. Okay? How about you, Susan? The other Susan?
I'm terrible if I'm trying to follow the longbow notes. The up, down, down. It's a mystery to me.
So is that what you were doing there when we were playing?
That really wasn't working.
Yeah, you might have to spend some more time like forcing the issue. And that's why I wrote the whole thing out, because I find once you get it under your arm, it's actually quite accessible. You'll find you're doing it even more than you want to sometimes, right? But to actually get it under your arm takes forcing, I find. So if you try to follow that bowing right through just a couple of times, really slow without any aberrations, then I bet you'll be able to do it, but it could take that. Okay? Yeah. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns, anything about that set? No? Okay, so we'll keep working on it in terms of speed and stuff like that. Get it a little quicker, it'd be nice. Now, what did we do before the reels? Anyone with a good memory?
I think King George.
All the Georges and the Kings.
All the Georges and the Kings. All right, cool.
Lyle.
And Miss Lyle, right. Miss Lyle, reel or Strathspey? Strathspey. So why don't we just play that whole set? Okay? Because we worked on it a lot. So Miss Lyle, Strathspey, King George IV, King's Reel, Old King's Reel, and that's it, right? We didn't do the Miss Lyle's reel at the end, right? We left it as a Strathspey. So let's give all of that a go there, guys. And then I'll think about something to do for next week, and we'll wind up at 8:30 tonight, because I'm supposed to go for a 5 to 7 minute walk every 90 minutes to keep this thing healing and doing good. And I've been really sticking with it, so I'll do that. All right. Okay. Now, you think we can go that fast? You think that's going to work? Okay. And then... we'll go about that fast to the reels, okay? Because then again, the further back in history we go, the slower we got to start off. So let's give it a go. The old King George set, starting with Miss Lyle. 1, 2, 3... Okay, so we need to work on the reels. All right? And again, I know it's a long time since we did them, so it's going to take some refreshing. You know what I mean? So what I would suggest, let's start with this set next week. Okay? I think the other ones are we've worked on them quite a bit, so they might be a little bit more fresh and present to the ear next week. So let's make this our startup set next week. We'll go real slow with the reels. We'll use it as an exercise for intonation, and we'll get this set kind of back from the history books. Yes, Melanie?
We had Miss Shepherd too.
Ooh, great tune. Well, why don't we go over that real quick too, okay? Really slow, same thing. That way we can say that we played all of our tunes, every one, on our practice night. And then we'll think about something for next week. But yeah, let's make this A minor set the first thing we do next week. We'll bring it back from the sands of time. Okay, nice and slow with the Miss Shepherd there, everybody. Really nice and slow. It's been a long time for this one too. 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, that looked like it was going pretty good. Now, I had a Brillo while we were doing that, and I think that for a slow one, next time, we should do a Shogun Farewell. Okay, you guys know that one, right? It's a beautiful tune, well known, and that way your ear is going to already be used to it. I think that's going to make a huge difference, all right? And I already mentioned Knopman's Rambles Jig. That would also be good, but I don't want to overload. I think it would be better because we've had a lot of jigs and reels. I see we had jigs, reels, and Strass bass. We have yet to look at any hornpipes or polkas and no slow airs at all. So I think a Shogun would be a good way to start. So as we finish up, I'm just going to play it for you once, just to remind you. And I always tell the story, this was my guaranteed fiver when I was busking at the St. Lawrence Market. Yes, Melanie?
What's Buddha Scary? What kind of...
That's a reel. Great tune, Shetland tune. Maybe we'll put that with Miss Shepherd at some point. That'd be a great change there. But anyway, so when I was busking at the St. Lawrence Market, I would play from 6 in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon. And if I waited until about 11:30, I would play a Shogun Farewell, and without fail, some middle-aged guy would come up to me and say, "Is that a Shogun Farewell from the PBS special?" And I would say yes, and he would give me a $5. Without fail. But if I did it too early, the middle-aged guy has not done his shopping yet. I would have missed him. You know what I mean? Gotta get the timing right. Anyway, so let me play it there as we finish up today, so it'll be in your ear all week. Did everybody see me go off to the dusty end? Hey? That's what we got to do for the end of this tune. The classic high D. All right? There's only one, and so if you don't get it, then that's too bad. Anyway, that'll be fun to work on, and I'll show you how to shift, and it'll be really fun, okay? So a Shogun Farewell next time. I'll still post, Knopmans as well, and send you the music for both tunes. And that's what we'll get up to next time. Thanks for joining tonight, guys. I'm really glad I'm back in the game. I feel fine. I'm going to go for a walk now. So anyway, we'll see you next week, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.